What kind of scale are you hoping for when it comes to the crime aspect of the story? By that, I mean, do you want a more Fast and Furious type of story with constant large set pieces like GTA 5, or a more realistic take on crime where there's a large emphasis on smaller types of robberies, convenience stores, small banks, etc.? I'll let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah, I think in terms of the overall story of just GTA 6 and what we want to hope to see with it. Obviously, everyone has a different opinion on what they want to see with the story. GTA 5, like this guy has said here, Marius, that GTA 5 involved a lot of large set pieces. It was one. Well, I know one of the movies that was inspired by by GTA 5 anyways, was the movie Heat, if I'm not mistaken, within one of the particular missions.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, in GTA 6 in particular, I think for me anyways, considering we have a Bonnie and Clyde like duo, that's the inspiration that Rockstar Games has taken for this story in particular. I think from what we have seen in the leaks anyways, it seems to suggest that it's going to be like that. We're going to be seeing those smaller types of robberies, like we saw with the Uncle Jack's liquor store in the trailer, the Hank's Waffles Diner in the leaked gameplay, and it seems to be the case that it looks like they're going to be on the run, going from place to place. So I don't think we are going to be seeing like big like heists like we did see in GTA 5. It'll be sort of, I would say, a little bit more different, and from my perspective anyways, I think something completely different from GTA 5 is better anyways. I don't want Rockstar to do the exact same thing. They don't necessarily do the exact same thing with each GTA iteration anyway, so I think if something is a little bit more unique relating to the relationship between Lucy and Jason will be quite interesting from that perspective, I guess, if that makes sense, if I'm making sense at all. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that. I think that, for example, I mean, the comparison to Fast and Furious is something that we've both spoken about as well, where Fast and Furious has become this big working for the government, bank heists, extreme bank jobs. Whilst that's cool and fun, GTA 5's done that. And what we've seen from Red Dead Redemption 2 is a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 story is hung on the characters themselves. So the way Arthur interacts, trusts / doesn't trust other people around him, and the relationships he has with other people. If you remove all of those dynamics in Red Dead Redemption 2, you've got a rubbish game. And I feel like with GTA 6, especially being a Bonnie and Clyde inspired love story, the actual weight and the scale of the story is probably going to be primarily focused around Jason and Lucia. And I feel like whether we're robbing a corner shop or stealing $100 million out of a bank, I feel like the dynamic between the both of them is actually going to have more part of the story than like the setup for the mission. I feel like, yes, there'll probably be mission setups. There are probably going to be things like messing with CCTV, and smaller bank jobs are going to need more work to pull off. But I feel like the more emphasis in that story is going to be put on the more realistic stuff, the boots on the ground. Here's a dynamic duo, here's them attempting to rob a bank, etc, etc, etc. So I feel like that's where the emphasis is going to be, not on which government agency they decide to work with. Yeah,
exactly right. The dynamic between Lucy and Jason is probably going to be much more of have much more of an emphasis than it is necessarily on the robbing or the robberies or whatever. So and I guess the friction between them as well, like if one wants to go a certain way and the other wants to go another way, that will have an interesting effect on how what the repercussions are, what the future repercussions are based off what happens in the story. So yeah,
and I think there's one more thing there that I want to touch on as well, whereas GTA 5, like you can drive 120 miles per hour to a mission and do a mission and then drive out of a certain area and escape the cops, where I feel like in GTA 6 with clearly a larger emphasis on immersion, they're probably going to make it a bit more difficult to do these simpler things. So for example, the police AI is going to be better, maybe the traffic AI is going to be a bit more complex. So smaller types of crimes and robberies, like convenience stores, small banks, etc., will probably be a lot more engaging missions than the biggest heists in GTA 5, sorry, because they're going to be more complex. There's going to be more moving parts, more realistic things to think about, whether you steal the money and then you have to launder the money somehow, which is something that we saw in the leaks, like a money laundering location. So I feel like adding more complexities to more realistic robberies is going to be far more interesting than robbing the national reserves.
Yeah, exactly.